Hi and welcome to the latest Ancient Egypt news from the first days of August. A collection of funerary stelae, coffins, amulets and ritual objects have been unveiled at the archaeological site of Tel el-Dia in Damietta, revealing new evidence on the site's function as a sophisticated funerary centre spanning several centuries of Egypt's ancient history. The discoveries were made during excavation work carried out by an Egyptian archaeological mission, adding significant new insights into the burial customs and the evolution of cemeteries in the eastern Nile Delta. This discovery demonstrates that Tel el-Dia was far more than a burial ground. Instead, it served as a fully developed funerary complex reflecting a distinct social, cultural and religious identity, asserted Hesham al-Lethi, Secretary-General of the Supreme Council of Antiquities, the SCA. He added that the finds reinforced the site's importance as one of the Eastern Delta's key archaeological locations, with the potential to reshape current understanding of ancient settlement patterns, necropolis, and the history of Damietta during antiquity. Among the most notable discoveries are approximately 20 finely carved limestone funerary stelae depicting human figures. The monuments are decorated on their sides and backs with religious and symbolic imagery, including representations of the griffin Agatha Daemon and Isis Themoutis. These motifs illustrate the cultural and religious interaction between ancient Egyptian traditions and Greco-Roman influences, while also pointing to the elevated social standing of the individuals commemorated. Mohammed Abdelbadi, head of the Egyptian Antiquities sector at the SCA, said that the excavations also yielded a large assemblage of pottery incense burners, decorated oil lamps of various forms, anthropoid barrel-shaped pottery coffins, and a collection of funerary amulets. He explained that these discoveries provide a more comprehensive picture of the rituals and symbolic practices associated with burial across successive historical periods. The archaeological evidence further confirms that Tel el-Dia remained in continuous use from the late period through the end of the Roman period, making it an exceptional record of the social, religious and funerary transformations that took place in the Nile Delta over the course of many centuries. Archaeologists believe the newly uncovered material will contribute significantly to future research on ancient Egyptian funerary traditions and the historical development of settlements in the Delta, further enhancing Tel el-Dia's status as one of Egypt's most promising excavation sites. A UNESCO museum was planned for Alexandria's sunken ruins and never built. AI imagines what we've all been missing. Picture descending into Alexandria's eastern harbour on a clear Mediterranean morning, the water shifting from turquoise to a deep living green as a fiberglass tunnel carries you 6 meters below the surface of Abu Qir Bay, and the world above simply disappears. Before you, lit by shafts of filtered sunlight, sit the remains of a civilization that spent roughly 1400 years resting undisturbed on the sea floor. Column drums, broken pediments, sphinx fragments, and the scattered bones of a royal city that once made Alexandria the intellectual and political capital of the ancient world. This almost happened. The Alexandria Underwater Museum, a UNESCO-backed project first conceived in the mid-1990s, moved through years of planning, architectural design and feasibility studies before stalling just as it should have begun to rise. To understand what we came so close to having and what remains possible in imagination, if not yet in practice, we asked AI to visualize what it might have looked like. French architect Jacques Roucherie developed the project's most complete vision in 2008. His design imagined an inland building on the shoreline connected to a submerged complex through a network of tunnels, with 4 towering edifices shaped like felucca sails announcing the museum from the harbour, something between a monument and a mirage. The proposed complex spanned 22,000 square metres and was designed to receive up to 3 million visitors a year, with glass submarines available for those who wanted to drift through the ruins rather than walk among them. Down there, a sunken royal quarter holds what archaeologists believe to be the remains of Cleopatra VII's palace, along with busts of her son, Caesarion, and her father, Ptolemy XII, lying more or less where they fell as the eastern Mediterranean gradually swallowed the city between the 6th and 7th centuries BCE through centuries of earthquakes, tsunamis, and coastal erosion. Imagine standing beside them in person in the ambient quiet of filtered seawater, just 6 meters beneath the surface of a modern city going about its day. Further out in Abu Qir Bay lie the ruins of 2 entire cities, Canopus and Heraklion, prosperous urban centres that predated Alexandria and sank under circumstances archaeologists are still piecing together. Recent dives by French underwater archaeologist Frank Godiot have brought up falcon-headed crocodile sphinxes, priests clutching canopic jars, and statues bearing the faces of the Ptolemaic dynasty, all emerging from the silt like figures stepping out of a dream. Altogether, the seafloor holds more than 2,500 catalogue relics, including the massive stone blocks believed to be the remains of the Pharaohs lighthouse, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, which collapsed into the bay in the 13th century. The proposed museum would have placed visitors within arm's reach of all of it. The reasons it never got that far are considerably less poetic than the treasures it would have contained. Egypt's 2011 revolution froze the project at a critical planning stage, and the estimated $150 million price tag has kept the scheme circling between feasibility studies and ministerial announcements ever since. As recently as May 2025, Egypt's Prime Minister ordered a fresh inventory of the site, with UNESCO coordination still ongoing, suggesting the conversation remains alive even if construction does not. The fixed remains, the palace foundations, the lighthouse blocks and the submerged street grids of Canopus are far too large and too embedded to relocate to a conventional museum. The underwater setting is the only place they can truly be experienced as they are. For now, the Mediterranean is keeping them to itself. Mr. Sherif Fati, the Minister of Tourism and Antiquities, recently held a press conference organised by the De Young Museum in San Francisco, ahead of the official opening of the Treasures of the Pharaohs exhibition, which the museum will host until the end of January next year. The conference received extensive media coverage with the participation of more than 65 media outlets from television channels and American news agencies, reflecting the great interest the exhibition and Egyptian civilization have in the media and the American public. Mr. Fati emphasized in his statement that the Treasures of the Pharaohs exhibition represents an extension of the distinguished cultural cooperation between Egypt and the De Young Museum, as it is the 3rd Egyptian archaeological exhibition hosted by the museum in the past 2 decades, following the Hatshepsut from Queen to Pharaoh exhibitions in 2005 and 2006, and the Ramesses and the Pharaohs Gold exhibitions in 2022 and 2023. The minister pointed out that the successes achieved by Egyptian archaeological exhibitions in the United States reflect the exceptional status of ancient Egyptian civilization among the American people, noting that Egypt organized 3 major archaeological exhibitions in 7 American states over the past 10 years, which witnessed wide public interest, confirming the depth of American interest in Egyptian civilization, which is also reflected in the teaching of ancient Egyptian history in the curricula of 6th grade students. The minister also highlighted the strong cooperation between Egypt and the United States in the field of antiquities, noting that about 50 American archaeological missions are currently working on various archaeological sites across the country, in addition to the ongoing cooperation in combating the illegal trafficking of cultural properties and protecting cultural heritage. He added that the coordination between the governments of the 2 countries has resulted in the recovery of more than 60 archaeological pieces during the years 2025 and 2036, which have been seized within the United States. Regarding the tourism movement, the minister clarified that the American market continues to be interested in the Egyptian tourist destination, as the number of American tourists arriving in Egypt has grown by 2% during the current year, despite the challenges the region is facing. Dr. Hisham Al-Lethi of the SCA stressed that the opening of the Treasures of the Pharaohs exhibition represents more than just an archaeological exhibition, but rather an extension of the bridges of civilizational communication between Egypt and the world. pointing out that the presence of the Minister of Tourism and Antiquities reflects the Egyptian state's interest in enhancing international cultural cooperation and openness to different peoples of the world. He clarified that international archaeological exhibitions have become one of the most important tools of soft Egyptian power, as they contribute to presenting Egyptian civilization as a global language of dialogue and understanding, and enhance mutual respect among peoples. In turn, Mr. Tom Campbell, director of the Fine Arts Museum in San Francisco, praised the fruitful partnership with the SCA in organising the exhibition, confirming that the promotional campaign for the exhibition has spread widely in the city, with expectations of a large audience during its run. Following the press conference, Dr. Tariq Al-Awaidi, the curator of the exhibition, took the minister and the attendees on a tour inside the exhibition halls, during which he displayed the most important archaeological pieces on display and the exhibition's curatorial scenario. The management of the De Jong Museum announced that the tickets for the first week of the exhibition are already sold out, expecting to receive more than 5,500 visitors during the first weekend following its opening, an early indication of the large public reception expected. The exhibition officially opened to the public on August the 1st and will continue until the end of January 2027, before moving to its second location in Texas. And that's it for this week. This news podcast is brought to you by Ted Laux and G&T Tours. Ancient Egypt News is rated in the top 5 Egypt history podcasts according to feedspot.com, as well as in the top 60 African news podcasts from millionpodcasts.com. For next year's tour dates, please check out our website, G&T Tours. Follow us on social media. Thanks for listening to this episode. Please feel free to comment and share. Until next time, thanks again. Cheers. Bye-bye.